Hey guys, it's Josh back with another active tour travel guide. Lone Pine is the gateway to the Eastern Sierras with just a 3-hour drive from Los Angeles and a 4-hour drive from Las Vegas. This underrated outdoor playground holds some of the most interesting and tallest features in the United States. Along with its gold mining and cinematic history, this small town is worth more than just a drive through on the way up the 395. I've spent countless weekends exploring everything Lone Pine has to offer. Number 1. The Alabama Hills. The Alabama Hills are some of the most underrated rock formations in the West. The fact that this land is Bureau of Land Management land, or BLM land, and not a state park or a national park, means that this area gets fewer visitors than those labeled with state or national park distinction. Use the lower crowds to your advantage and explore the rock formations and historic film sites. Free camping is also allowed in the area and already established campgrounds. However, there is no facilities, so be sure to pack in and pack out everything. These next few stops are all in the Alabama Hills, so I'm going to group them together before moving on to the rest of the things to do in Lone Pine. Number 2. Mobius Arch. If you only have time for a short hike as you drive through Lone Pine, this 1-mile Mobius Arch Loop Trail would be it. With wonderful views of the Sierra Mountains in the background and a playground of boulders and arches in the foreground, this trail has everything to get a good feel for the area. Take the trail counterclockwise to see first the Heart Arch and then arrive at the Alabama's Hills' most famous arch, Mobius Arch. There are some fantastic opportunities to see Mount Whitney and the rest of the Sierra Mountains through the arch. And if you're into photography, the warm sunrise light makes for the best time to take photographs of the arch and the snow-peaked mountains in the background. Number 3. Lathe Arch. Just a little further along the Mobius Arch Loop Trail is the much smaller Lathe Arch. It's relatively hidden and very easy to miss, but be sure you scramble around just beyond Mobius Arch to find this unique arch. Number 4. Cyclops Rock. Cyclops Rock is one of the more obscure and much harder to find arches in the park. You basically can't see the arch unless you're right next to it. This extremely unique formation makes you wonder what happened millions of years ago to make this formation deteriorate in this way. This slumbering giant is worth a scavenger hunt to find. Number 5. Eye of the Alabama Hills Arch. This perfectly positioned arch sits high on a hill, patiently keeping an eye on the Alabama Hills and the Sierras behind. You can climb up to the right of the arch and pinpoint Mount Whitney and the rest of the Sierras through the arch. The Eye of the Alabama Hills Arch is a quick hike or drive from the popular Mobius Arch Trail, just off the movie Flat Road, and a fairly easy spot. Number 6. Nightmare Rock. Only 1 or 2 miles up on Mount Whitney Portal Road to your right is Nightmare Rock. Only a quick stop is needed, but it's fun always to imagine the faces and creatures of the rock formations in the Alabama Hills. This artist surely made this one clearly stand out for all the visitors to see. Lastly, for Alabama Hills, is stargazing and astrophotography. If you're into stargazing or astrophotography, you'll be hard-pressed to find a better place to do both. With amazing arches in your foreground and seemingly infinite stars, it's a great place to gain perspective on just how big our universe is. If you're looking for the best time to capture the Milky Way, you'll want to wait till there's a new moon so there's less light pollution. Number 8. Mount Whitney. Mount Whitney is 14,505 feet and is the highest point in the lower 48 and the crown jewel of the Sierra Nevadas. Mount Whitney Trail is a 22.5 extremely strenuous, heavily trafficked out and back trail that is best hiked from April to October. When I did this hike, we took a few days and backpacked up the trail, helping us to acclimate to the altitude. Now be sure you take the altitude seriously. Not everyone on our team summited, even when taking it slow. You could choose a day hike this, however, make sure you carry emergency equipment. After our summit day, we noticed a completely delirious hiker without food, water, or proper clothing. He was day hiking. He ended up sleeping in our tent. We gave him a sleeping bag, food, and water, and in the morning he thanked us and headed down the mountain. I really wonder how that guy's doing. This trail is also part of the John Muir Trail. Although it either starts or ends at the summit of Mount Whitney, you have to come down or start from here. Number 9. Lone Pine Lake. If you don't have time for Mount Whitney, but you want to get some Sierra hiking in, this 5.1 round-trip hike takes you up the same trail as the Mount Whitney Trail, but you don't need a permit to get to the lake. It's a difficult hike with over 1,700 feet of elevation gain, but it gives you a clear taste of what it takes to hike Mount Whitney with fantastic payoff at Lone Pine Lake. Number 10. Manzanar. In 1942, the United States government ordered more than 110,000 men, women, and children to leave their homes and detain them in a remote military-style camps. Manzanar War Internment Camp was one of these 10 camps where Japanese American citizens and residents Japanese aliens were incarcerated. This horrific part of our history is a haunting reminder of our troubled past and one hopefully we can learn from. This monument is easily passed up during the drive up the 395, but is easily the most emotional and powerful stop along the whole eastern Sierras. Number 11. The Whitney Fish Hatchery. Just north of Manzanar and in the town of Independence is the Whitney Fish Hatchery. Perhaps the most beautiful fish hatchery in the U.S., if not the world. Construction began in March of 1916 with a final budget of approximately $60,000. The 2 to 3 foot thick walls of the building are constructed using 3,200 tons of native granite. Although no longer working as an active fish hatchery, in its heyday, this facility produced 2 million fish fry per year, and that played an important role in preserving the golden trout, the California state fish. Number 12. The Museum of Western Film History. Enjoy films? Most likely you've seen many films that have been shot using the Alabama Hills as a backdrop. Films like Gladiator, Iron Man, Tremors, Django Unchained, Star Trek, A Star is Born, Maverick, Lone Ranger, many, many, many more. This museum is like a time capsule for the film history in the area, and with its extremely affordable entry fee, it's a worthwhile stop if you have an hour and want to get out of the heat. Number 13. The Cottonwood Charcoal Kilns in Inyo County stands as a reminder of the tremendous impact the gold rush had on the forest and landscapes. The kilns were built to provide charcoal to the rich Cerro Gordo mine, 10 miles to the east, and across Owens Lake in Inyo County. The Cerro Gordo mine produced nearly $20 million in silver and lead, and it's worth a quick drive down a 1-mile dirt road to see this. Number 14, the Alabama Hills Cafe. This is my favorite place to eat while in the area. They always make their own bread and pastries, and they have a good driving map of some of the rock formations on their wall and on their website. I highly recommend the Cinnamon Swirl French Toast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video about Lone Pine and everything there is to do in the surrounding area. Hit that like button, comment below, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much. I'm Josh from Active Tours.